A federal court made a CEO pay $216,000 out of his own pocket, not the company's. His. He thought he'd delegated his benefits liability away, but he hadn't. If you've handed your health plan to your broker or your CFO, this is for you. ERISA doesn't wait for your signature. The moment that your plan exists, the board is the named fiduciary. It's automatic, and that liability becomes personal. It attaches to the human, not just the title. Most leaders never really read their plan document closely enough to understand the impacts that could have on. A federal court made a company owner pay this out of his own pocket: unpaid benefit contributions. Why him? He controlled the plan money, so the court said he owed the breach, not the company, him. All right, so let's say that you take it another level and you legally structure a contract to hand off your fiduciary responsibility to a broker or a third party administrator. Does this actually end your responsibility? No, it definitely moves the line, but it doesn't erase it. You still have to pick the vendor. You still have to check on them, that fiduciary vendor you're picking. If you hire wrong and never follow up, you're absolutely still exposed. Then there's the whole category of decisions that you can't hand off at all: deciding whether or not to have a plan, picking the benefits, setting the contribution, changing the terms. These are all settlor functions. There's no charter, no contract, there's no paperwork that can move them off your desk and move the fiduciary liability related to them off your desk. Now, let's take a quick look at the legal environment. According to Encore Fiduciary's 2025 report, plaintiff firms filed 155 new ERISA class actions last year. That's near a record. These firms are well organized, well funded, and they are not slowing down. All right, so here's what's changed. Most of these cases used to hit retirement plans, and they still do, but 39 landed on health plans last year. That number used to be almost nothing. The Consolidated Appropriations Act cracked open the door just enough with fee transparency that health plans are now the top target. You might think that size protects you, but not so much anymore. Remember that split of last year's ERISA class actions where 98 hit retirement plans and 39 targeted health and benefit plans? That second number is the one that I care about right now. On the health and benefits side, the target is still the Fortune 500. However, it's the mid-market employer, 1,000 to 10,000 employees, that is the most exposed today. You're big enough that the plan is worth suing, but small enough to assume that nobody's looking. And the settlement dollars aren't insignificant. Excessive fee cases settle north of 3 million. Tobacco surcharge cases close to 5. Fears of settlements clear 1.3 billion. More than 30 fee deals last year alone, plus a $69 million United Healthcare outlier. Unfortunately, the impacted members aren't the ones getting paid. 55 to 70 bucks is a head on average. It's the lawyers that are. So what actually protects you? Process, not outcomes. A court's not going to ask if you picked the winning fund or the lowest cost health plan. They're going to ask if you followed a prudent process, if you wrote it down, and if you acted on it. That's all they care. All right, these three artifacts do most of the work if you ever find yourself in court. First, a written delegation with a signed charter, essentially who's responsible to make decisions, and you need to define their scope. Next, document your meetings twice a year at a minimum with real meeting minutes. And lastly, a monitoring log for your broker, your third-party administrator, and your pharmacy benefit manager. If you miss any of these, your fiduciary house is technically out. But Blake, you're an insurance guy. What about insurance? Fiduciary liability coverage is absolutely relevant and it matters. It can pay out across both the retirement and the health plan side of things, but it's not a substitute for process. It covers the gap when you don't do something right or if there's an error, if something breaks. But if you can't show documentation, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more at renewal trying to maintain what you had. The risk was never that you delegated. It's that you can't prove how. The gap between we handed it off and we documented the handoff, that's exactly where personal liability. Before you shuffle off to the next video, do one thing this week. Pull up your plan and your meeting notes and check whether you've named a fiduciary committee. If you have, check whether or not you've clearly assigned them duties and have meeting minutes logged. If you don't have those put together, get them put together as soon as you can. If you're not sure where to start, that's exactly the type of thing that I help plan sponsors fix. If you found this video helpful, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the articles, tools, and resources over at benefitsblake.com.